That is waiting. Keep right by this.
Are you sure? We are live.
I saw you. Too good to eat or sandwich or what?
I didn't know it was gonna be.
Oh.
You didn't read the
Public.
This isn't free yet. Shocker.
Let's start the meeting for the budget. With a pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I need a motion to approve the agenda for the budget hearing.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Sarah, can you check?
Nope, we're good.
Thank you. There's no conflicts. Whenever you're ready.
He said he's gonna go slow.
I tried. Thought there was more stuff in there. I can remind everybody that deadline for absentee voting is June 1st, right? And election day is June 2nd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Don't forget to vote. School board members and everything else.
So far.
Whole bunch of county commissioners.
I'm not gonna go too far until I get out.
Was there 8?
Yeah.
How many did you get?
It's a 2006. It's a big one.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I will not be doing that. Yeah, no, I don't need to do that. I don't even want to drive my own vehicle. Yeah, true. True.
Watch out for the cord. The one with the owl.
All right, are we ready?
We're ready whenever you are.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I will apologize for being a little late and setting up. We had a few meetings beforehand, so. Big crowd for the budget hearing, preliminary budget, so. First, before I get started, Sarah, Terry, feel free to jump in at any time with this. I do want to let everybody know that our business office did a great job. Sarah put a lot of information into slides and stuff, and we just kind of organized it and added a few more things to it. But I think that you're going to see for the 26-27 preliminary budget, there's going to be a lot of things in here that I think are very positive that we have to focus on. I also want to make sure we're very clear in understanding that this is a preliminary budget. And our plans are to continue to look at where we can possibly have some savings throughout the 25-26 budget. If we recognize those, we should be able to carry those forward through the 26-27 budget. So we're first going to talk a little bit about the process, and some of this is a little bit hypothetical, but it's more so what I want to see happen in the future as we prepare our budgets, especially in our case where we're going to be looking at some different factors with the funding formula, as well as trying to address what's going to happen with our enrollment. But typically what we'd like to see is during the review period of the 25-26 budget this year, that should be starting immediately. Once that budget is approved in September, every month we should be not just giving you guys an expense sheet, a revenue sheet, but we should be breaking it down as far as the rate on the investment. What is actually happening at that time each month. So if we approve things and we're utilizing them, there should be feedback incoming between the principals, the superintendent, the department heads, the superintendent back to committees and talking about it. Because if it's not working, we want to make sure we're able to make those adjustments in the future. So that's all part of your strategic analysis. I think it's important that we look at the different things and we have the conversation about what are the unstable factors. You know, I wish our legislators were here right now because they need to be aware of unstable factors that are happening, you know, in South Dakota that in turn can impact our schools, all right? Because they do control some of those. So preliminary budget review for 26-27 school year with the building principals, directors, department heads, that should be presented out to the finance committee at the very latest in March. So when we start making tough decisions this year, you know, I want to make sure that I recognize the administrative team. And when I talk about administrative team, I'm not just talking about principals. I'm also talking about our department heads. Because we had to go in and do a lot of work to try to find out, you know, where do we have some waste at? And by doing that, that's why we're able to bring forward, you know, a budget that looks obviously a lot better going forward. So the preliminary budget presentation for 26-27, obviously published in the Custer Chronicle. That should happen every May. And then we have continued modifications of the budget for June and July. And then if we do it like we have talked about, we will approve that final budget in September. One of the things I talked with the business managers about, and they're good with this, approving a budget in September, there's two things with it. One, it really helps us to put real numbers in there because now you're working from, you know, June through September. You're even gonna have like your enrollment down, but it does put them under the gun a little bit, which I know they can get it done though, to get that information into the county. So they know what we're going to be asking for, what we need. All right? So going forward, this is just an outline, and I will send this out to you guys. We'll just post it someplace on the website, but this is an outline of what this presentation all holds. So we will just jump right into it. So looking at the total proposed budget, all funds for fiscal year, comparing fiscal year 26 to fiscal year 27, you can see that we're looking at about a 12.48% decrease for the two different fiscal years. This is excluding the CTE. Sarah, why are we excluding the CTE?
We want to compare real numbers from real spending, not building spending year to year. So for all these numbers I put together, I did remove the CTE because we're not building a building this year. So it didn't make sense to talk about that in the second time.
You understand that? Okay. So if you look at this, and this is something you guys can obviously look at when you have a little bit more time than we want to dive into it. But this is what you're looking at for general fund expenditures. If you look down at the very bottom, we're looking at about a 13.63% decrease from the previous year, from fiscal year 26. We feel good about this. I think that when you start looking at the decreases where they're coming from, again, we've talked about not losing programs. We're not losing programs. Will they look a little bit different? Yes. Are we trying to be a little bit more efficient as a school district? Most certainly. So this next slide just puts it, like bundles everything. So when people ask the question, because I hear this all the time, well, how much do you really spend on instruction? And I'll say, well, what do you mean by instruction? Now I'll have to ask them that question. And it's like, well, it's teachers, right? It could be curriculum, it could be licensing, it could be a number of things. But if you look at it, I think you need to understand that over 60% is really geared specifically around our students. What our students are doing in the classrooms, what our students are doing in activities. It's the true programs, the cost of the programs. It's not a lot of fluff in there. 19% goes to operation and maintenance. Administration and governance is about 14.9, and student support services is about 4. Now, here's how to look at this. For every $5 it's spent, 3 of it goes where? To instruction. The number that you look at for like administration and governance, people always want to know what's the magical number on that. As long as you stay under that 15%, you're doing a pretty good job. So in looking at this, we're okay. One area that we really want to watch is student support and services. There's some school districts that you look at that number and it's probably not even going to register as a 1. We do a pretty good job of meeting all the needs of all of our students in this district. Capital outlay expenditures, again, it's a 14.73% decrease from fiscal year 26. After the meeting we just had, that might change a little bit. But one of the things, again, looking at this, you're going to have an item tonight. That's a big curriculum item that's part of this. But overall, I think we've done a very good job of looking at the things that are necessary. I want to again compliment Darren in the technology department of understanding of the rotation of our equipment. You know, the life of it. The one thing you know that technology people are always going to do is they're going to push what? About every 3 years, 4 years. And we're finding a way to push this stuff out to sometimes 5, 6 years, which is going to obviously help the district. Breaking this down as far as our capital outlay obligations, the one number on here that stands out, and it's something that I will tell you as a board, you need to know that this is high, having a debt obligation like this, but you should also feel very good about it because you don't have a bond, right? You don't have additional debts out there. You're paying for it all out of your capital outlay. So even though that's high, you're also able to keep our facilities updated. So that's good, a good expense. And if you look at instructional investments at 20.25%, facilities and grounds at 13.42%, operational equipment technology, talking about, you know, Darren's program, that looks pretty good. The one area that we want to watch for just a little bit is the transfers and others. Sarah, what are we pulling out of capital outlay this year?
Right now, we've got $500,000 that we're planning to transfer to general fund.
Okay, so why we need to be careful with that, just like the meeting talking about transportation, right? If we're going to want to, down the line, get into operating our own fleet of buses, then we're going to want to be looking at that, transfers and others, and that could be part of that, could become what we use to update our fleets down the line. All right, questions with that? Anything to add? Special education fund, again, this is a 4.18% decrease from fiscal year 26. The one of the things I want to mention, just so we know this about our savings this year, remember that we were able to, with some of our people, when we started going through the reduction in force, we were able to put them back into key positions in the special education area. All right, so I feel good about this, that we're still going to be able to keep those very good paraprofessionals, support staff for our students. And that's maybe one of the reasons why you don't see that decreasing quite as much. And then with our impact aid, again, fiscal year 26, this kind of goes to that transfer thing. We're taking to 750 out of there into general fund. Again, I will compliment the board on that. There's a lot of school districts that take that impact aid and they really stockpile it. And really that money is there for us to use for instruction. So I think that's a good use of that. Questions? There is the breakdown of special education funds. You're looking at 66% go towards instructional programs. If you compare that back to the general fund, that was 60%. Again, you have your related services. Your administrative costs is at 12.5 to 49%. That should be below that 15%. Then you have the rest of it. Questions?
Go back, Tim, to the general fund page. Please.
Just remember where I was at though.
All right. My only question is the line item Board of Education. Didn't we have a discussion about, because the bad thing about that line item, the public thinks that's what the board gets paid, $209,000.
You're just talking the name of it?
Well, it's all because board pay is
Right.
lumped in with, board pay is like not even 1% of that.
Right.
And perception in the district is the board's getting paid $200,000.
Well, you're not getting paid $200,000.
But,
So,
you know, if the discussion in the district going on with commissioners and everything else, it's very deceiving to people that don't know what they're looking at.
yeah.
They breeze through, they find board pay or Board of Education and just go, wow. I don't know if there's a way to break that out, that category. It's just,
Yeah, I think there's ways of us making sure, and I do understand what's being talked about. It's not just in Custer County and the Custer School District, it's across the nation. But, yeah, I think we just have to understand that this is a slide that lumps things together. But I think that we can, as we progress through the budget, we can clarify specifically, for example, Board of Education, what is the board pay? And just leave it at that so people can see that. You know, how much money are we spending on legal services? We're not spending, you know, as much as honestly it's been spent in the past. That's a good thing. One of the things you hear all the time during legislative session, we get more and more laws passed, and those laws require us to do more of what?
legal.
Advertising and legal publications. Okay, so there's things out there that we can break that down. I think it would be actually good for the public to see that, how that's actually spent. So anything to add to that?
We can work on that and try to make this consistent with the way other school districts are putting theirs. There's a formula that we have to follow when we put this out, so I'll look into it and see how much more detail I can go into.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Where was I at?
Just finished special education.
Right
there. Okay. So looking at district-wide expenditures increases for fiscal year 27, and Sarah talked on this because we pulled out the CTE building. So there's what your new increases are going to look like. Looking down the line at Virtual Academy, this is something that we put in there just because we want to make sure that we have it if we need it. And what is that need going to look like? We don't know yet. It could be more licensing. It could be more support services for our students. It honestly will come down to how much that Virtual Academy can really grow. Utility energy costs, we're guessing right around 85,000. And as of right now, where we're at with salaries negotiations, that's about a 200,000, close to that. As you can see at the bottom, our district-wide attrition savings ends up being right at about 970,000. So if you look at the decreases by funds, our general fund decreased by 13.63, capital outlay 14.73, and sped funds by 4.18. I think that this is a good start to us becoming very efficient. And now through analysis going forward and looking at how successful our programs are, and remember, if we grow, we won't have to worry about necessarily working with negative numbers. We'll be able to continue to add to this. But growth means also for the district, our enrollment will increase, which we all know from our state funding formula. Right now, with us being back in the funding formula, that will count towards new revenue. So here's our revenues. We're looking again with their tax levy at $6,411,986. That's quite a bit different from last year. If you start thinking in lines of the property tax reduction, what that's going to look like. I know that Larry sent out an email to all of us. I think it's something that a lot of us are worried about. You know, what happens if this does become a referendum to the voters with the sales tax not going from 4.2 to 4.5? For us, it would actually give us another year to probably adjust, or we still could just do what we're doing now and be okay. But I think it's something that there's a lot of people talking about. If you're paying attention to the governor's race right now, we're really going to have to keep our eyes on that tax levy dollar amount over the next few years. Federal dollars right now, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of changes as far as what we're going to receive. I know that our big discussion for our large school superintendents, it's going to be how that money flows. There's obviously without the Department of Education, and it works through from the Fed level back down to the state level. Are we going to see the same process through grants management, or will it look a little different? We'll have to wait and see on that. So this is where your general fund revenues come from. I know this is a little tight, but you're seeing that basically 70.85% of your revenue is locally generated. It's our taxes. And then you can see from transfers and reserves, federal funding portion of it, state funding, county funding, and so forth. Questions with that? We talked already a little bit about this, Senate Bill 245, and then the mechanism for generating is House Bill 1051. Again, our levies dropped from 2.518 to 0.669. This next slide will show you the historical part of it. And for people looking at owner occupied, you can see that in 2017, we were at 3.372. And fiscal or payable in 2027, we will be at 0.669. The other thing to banking lines up with these, that if the Governor Roden's bill, now it's law, if the county was to put that in for Custer County, that would also lower potentially all three of these levies in agriculture, owner occupied, and ag. Because what overfills, then it gets spread out through all the levies. It's not just through owner occupied. Questions with that? All right, these are your capital outlay funds, where they're being generated from. Again, it's a decrease of 14.73%. for fiscal year 26. Special education, it's a decrease of 4.18. Impact aid, we're saying it's the same as fiscal year 26. If you look at the reserves where we're at, and Sarah, you want to talk a little bit about capital outlay, where we're at there?
Yes, when you build buildings, you end up needing to keep a lot of money for your debt payments, for your construction payments. So we can see 2020, 2021, when we're working in Hermosa, finishing Hermosa, it looks like we have a lot of money, but we really did not. Those were just specific to the building project. Same thing with 24 and 25. We did end last year with $8.7 million in reserves, but we spent almost all of that on the building. So those numbers look high, but it's because we were building a building and now we go back to having that $3.54 million reserve.
For capital outlay.
Correct.
If you look at your general fund cash balance of school, but with our expenses that are at, as far as the law says it'd be, I think it's like 2.4 is where we can be at, close to that. So we are far below that number, so that looks good. I think a positive to our budgets, looking at general fund carryover, it's right now about 340,000, what we project in capital outlay, 1.1 and sped 240,000. So these are your tax levy requests, just quickly looking at them from 26 to 27. You can see that our tax levies are dropping in the general fund. Capital outlay is up. And then you have your spend is up a little bit as well, but it's a total of a 15.04 decrease. Special education, with that increasing, a lot of it has to do with, in the past year, if I'm correct, we've been spending reserves down, is that right?
Yes.
And now we're finally where we need to be at, so we're gonna be leveling that levy ask out a little bit. So total proposed budget, again, without the CTEs from fiscal year 26 to fiscal year 27 is a 12.48% decrease. And with that, are there questions?
It looked like for every category, when you went through the breakdown, there was still a substantial number for use of reserves in each category.
That is true. The only one there's not is capital outlay, the way we have it budgeted right now, that there's an excess there because we have to move property insurance into capital outlay this year, so that one is an overage. But even with all the work we did to do our best to save money, we still need to do some reserve spending. So that carryover amounts right there, we know that that's gonna help with that, some of that reserve spending this year.
It just seemed they were still pretty big, so we still got a lot of work to do, because that is not sustainable.
Yeah, I think the ones that you have to watch for right now, obviously, is going to be your capital outlay. That's one you're gonna we definitely need to pay attention to, because there's always items that will come forward. And I think with what we're doing right now with attrition, we may get to the point, but I will tell you this, if you get to the point where you're only going to fund programming off of what you're given to you by the state, you will be getting to the point where you eliminate programs, because it does come down to that student-teacher ratio. So we are fortunate to have these federal programs like Impact Aid to be able to use money there to help support those programs.
And we did have two major issues dealt to us this going into 27. We knew that we had that $1.2 million deficit, and then the property valuation happened. And if we only had one or the other, we wouldn't be doing any reserve spending at all. But now we have to work with that.
Yep. I just noticed that even with all the major cuts, and you did a great job with it, there were still over $500,000 dipping into reserves.
That's true.
And sped was a little over 200,000, and I thought showed capital outlay was still using some reserves.
It's not. It's overage because we're trying to plan for how much the property insurance is gonna be until we know that number. We will
Gotcha.
our tax ask needs to be.
So one of the things that Sarah's pointing out now, I know we gotta be rolling, but remember by law now, we can take property tax liability payments that can come out of your capital outlay, and it does not count towards your 45%, right?
Any other questions? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Larry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And let's start the regular meeting with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Cory, second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Cory. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Larry or Sarah can check for open forum again.
We're good?
Thank you. No open forum. And we'll move on to section 3, acknowledgements. We got quite a few of them here. See if I can- The first one is FCCLA awards and recognitions. Let's see if I can pull one here. The FCCLA competed at the state competition in Sioux Falls in April, and the achievements, Holly Nielsen got first place state champion, and she qualified for national competition in DC. Molly Frederick Medlin, top 5 finish in the state with the gold ranking. Evelyn Garcia, Lexi Wilkins, and Mackenzie Ham earned bronze ranking on their project. So congratulations to these students and their advisor, Ms. Frederick. 3 HOSA awards. Students went Addison Hemingway and Kayla Adams got first in healthcare display. Regan Bloom got first in healthcare explanation. Kayla Adams, first place in medical terminology. Olivia Eakin, Addison Hemingway, and Peyton Zimmett got first in dynamic decision. Madison Merkel got second in medical terminology. And Eva Grooms and Peyton Halls got 7th in forensic science. And their advisor is Emma Rise. So congratulations to those students. I don't see any out there. Academic excellent luncheon for top students. CHS senior Sam Cochran for being in the top 1% of the state's graduating seniors and attending 36th annual academic excellence luncheon. Toby, do you have anything to add to that?
No, our valedictorians are always invited to that, so good for Sam for attending that and being there.
Thank you. Staff recognitions, admin assistants, principals, school nurses, and teachers and staff appreciation days all throughout this month, so it's been busy for that. Appreciate all of you. We have some acknowledgements of donations. For staff recognition and retirement, Crazy Horse Memorial Foundation providing meals and various door prizes for the staff recognition and retirement. CHS Market Day, all those that were involved in that, thank you. We had some sponsors, that parents and sponsors that provided food, funding, and equipment. Thanks to Alexa Winkler for her instruction and guidance on this project. Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week. Numerous local organizations and individuals who provided gifts and treats to celebrate our district employees. So thank you. Student meal support, we had 4,250 anonymous donations dedicated to clearing unpaid student meal balances. So thank you for that. That helps our kids eat and perform well. And Hive to Pride Fun Run. This was the first one that they had in Hermosa. Josie Weekly is the teacher, was in charge of the 8th grade leadership class. And they had numerous donations from Black Hills Runners Club, Dakota Guardianship and Advocacy, Shields, Edge Sports, Strider, Brush Mountain Adventure Park, Black Hills Running Company, Miners Cup Coffee, Maria's Mexican Restaurant, South Dakota Outdoor Shop, Pizza Mill, Fairburn Church, Women of Faith. Frosty, you know what they ended out rated?
Over 2,000. I think it was like 2,200 with just the entry fees. It was awesome.
Going to a scholarship of a senior
Yeah.
to the Hermosa.
Yep, they gave it out. It was going to Karen Ellerton. She received it. So.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
That's a pretty awesome program to be started by the
for
8th
sure.
grade leadership group. Teacher Hermosa Teacher Appreciation, we had donations from Crumble Cookie, they 50% discount cookies, Nothing Bundt Cake, discount on cakes, Wing Nut Barbecue, and gave a discount to teachers for a lunch. Custer Lutheran Fellowship, $1,000 donation to CHS Angel Fund for Students in Need. There's a lot of help from our community, and just want to acknowledge and appreciate everybody involved in that. Anything to add? We'll move on to 4, conflict of interest declaration. We have none this month. Move on to 5, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Tori? Second,
I'll second.
Randy? Any discussion?
I'm gonna abstain from voting on the consent agenda from conflict of interest.
Okay. Thank you, Heath. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move on to 5-6 facilities. Transportation Committee report.
Okay, we had a meeting tonight, a short meeting, but an effective meeting. We just spent some time talking a little bit about our potential next year to some different opportunities, I should put it that way, for us to fill our activity routes for the 26-27 school year. As I've reported to you guys, I've been informed by Landmark that they will only be able to have 7 buses right now for us as a district. So if you take our routes away, that puts us really in a tough position going forward. So we're just working with some different contractors right now to look at possibility of them helping us out for the 26-27 school year. And we're also looking at potential for purchasing our few of our own buses, which would be potentially executive coach bus and nice 44 passenger yellow or white buses that have like activity seats in them. Anything else to add?
I don't think so.
But it's something we do gotta follow up on very quickly, because we're gonna be short of activity buses and with lead times. Have another meeting. Time is of the essence.
Good. Any questions, board members? Thank you for the work on that. Look forward to hearing in the future. We'll move on to 7, business and finance. Monthly cash flow report. Sarah?
Yes, the monthly cash flow is attached. We did get a significant tax payment last month. We will get our big tax payment this month, which will bring the general fund back into the positive again. We should be able to do the preschool transfer. We do have $12,000 in grant money that we need to get into the preschool fund. We just haven't spent it yet. So I will be able to add $12,000 to that hopefully in May. In yellow, you'll see that we are continuing to put money into the RBC savings account. When we had that extra tax funds, we were able to move that into the bank, so it's making better interest rates for us than we had in our local bank. And on the second page, the budget to actual spending, we briefly touched on some of those carryover amounts that we're anticipating to be able to be held over into FY27. And if you look at that budget to actual final column that says amount remaining, that's where we're getting some of these estimates. We know we're still going to have to do a lot of payroll, but most of our other large purchases are complete for the year. So that gives you a just a little closer view of why we think we're going to be able to carry those.
Thank you, Sarah. Board, questions? Anything to add? Okay. Move on to 7.2, budget discussion. Is there something additional besides our presentation?
The papers that I just walked around and passed out are a comparison for you of a little bit more detail of fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27. So you can see a little bit more detail how we're working and where those changes are really happening. The budget presentation is what we sent to the newspaper. This just gives a little bit more depth, more detail, and we thought if you had any questions, this would be an easier way to kind of see where we changed from last year to this year.
Thank you. Any questions, board?
How about a quiz?
Okay.
So looking at your budgeted revenues, fiscal year 26, where it says taxes levied, you have 7.4, and then you have fiscal year 27, 6.4 million. So the question is, why is that?
Legislation.
Thank you. Do you want to add a little more to that?
I don't remember the numbers of the bills.
I just want to make sure everybody understands this because I think that, there's the perception out there that the state did not give an increase to education. The state did give an increase to education this year. However, they also changed the funding formula, and when they changed the funding formula, it had a big time negative impact on about 4 or 5 schools, right? The Custer School District was one of them, even though they added to it, okay? So that was the question.
Thank you. Any questions, board member? Anything to answer?
Last thing is that this is going to be my main project until I work through the annual report. So I plan to use this document for the next couple board meetings. So you'll be able to track what the changes are. I'm going to add another column so we can always be comparing to what the proposed budget was that we looked at and then where we are in real time before we pass the budget in September.
Okay. Thank you.
Quick question, Sarah, on the budget to actuals, and looking at what's, so we didn't spend any money on vehicles last year? Shows zero, thought we bought a vehicle.
On which page?
Budget to actual.
The comparison. Budgeted 107, but actual shows zero, and then it's budgeted again for next year, zero.
We're talking about capital outlay vehicles.
Right, so these are budgeted numbers, not actual spending numbers, and we did pass the budget to say we were gonna purchase those 2 vehicles. So that's why that 107 is in there. We have not spent that money, that's gonna be part of our carryover money. But the numbers you're looking at here are all the budgeted numbers that you
Yes.
approved in the budget, not the actual spending. So that sheet that I just handed out, these are budget to budget, not actual. Thank you for asking that.
Any other questions? We'll move on to 7.3 meal price. Terry?
Hello. So we are recommending a 10% increase for meals. 10 cent. Not, I added a P. 10 cent increase for meals, and then a few of the à la carte and snack items. We're proposing increases based on inflation, and our meeting with LSI, our Lunchtime Solutions, our food service management company. They are going to be increasing their prices, and they suggested we increase everything 20 cents. And so because our food service balance is 137,000, and because we hope to still receive the beef and bison donations next year, and we will be getting a 30 cents for breakfast and 40 cents for lunch reimbursements for all of the reduced meals that are sold. We'll be getting that from the state. So with those things in mind, we would like to suggest that you approve the meal pricing below based on, again, the 10 cents for the meals highlighted in yellow, and then the other varied increases are in gray.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
So I need a motion to approve the meal prices as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Randy.
I'll second.
Corey? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Thank you for your work on that, Terry.
You're welcome.
Move on to 8.1, policy and procedures.
Just real quick, I'll just mention that there's some policies that we definitely need to review. The first two, the custodial funds and the types of funds. Really with the custodial funds, that just needs to be reviewed as far as the processes that we're using, make sure that we're tracking 3 to 4 different funds. You know, I'm gonna say 3 to 4 because I think down the line it's gonna be important that we recognize even with money that is in foundations and how that money is spent in our school system. So we'll work on that. And then obviously we talked a little bit about the community use school facilities. We want to review again that throughout the summer month. Distribution and posting of promotional materials. It's something that's been talked about throughout the Midwest. Again, it was mentioned last week in a meeting I was at is, you know, what are you seeing on your walls in your school? Who do you have like tracking that information? Even in classrooms, what are people posting? Just we want to make sure we're looking at that policy and we're getting specific things out to educators on that. And I just think it's important that we also look at the entire section G of personnel policies, and I started going through there, and honestly, there was about 6, 7 of them that I thought we needed to address right away, so I just said, let's look at the entire section and make sure that our expectations are being shared out with all of our employees in the school district going forward. So we have a lot of work to do, Sarah, Travis, throughout the summer. Thank you.
Is there any updates that we need to make because of legislation this year?
We will get that email in our June from ASBSD, and I do, Sarah and Terry have mentioned some things like posting things of board meetings that we're going to start addressing here soon. So, yeah.
Usually have some changes.
Yes.
Any questions on policies? Okay. Move on to 9, curriculum, instruction, and other educational programs. So approve the HME reading and the ELA curriculum. This is what the teacher presented to us last one, correct?
Yeah.
With numbers.
If you remember the quote from last month, just so we call this, it was at, is that right, Joe? It was 355,000, and they got down to about 317,000. That's a great job from that group. I also want to mention before I go forward is I did contact them, and they actually laughed at me. But there is a thing called performance contracts. That's what I mentioned to you guys, where you can like take a look at it for 1-2 years and set like our indicators of success. And they weren't interested in doing that. So
At least you
at
tried.
least I tried.
Okay. Any questions on that? Otherwise, I need a motion to approve the curriculum. Do we know what was budgeted for this by chance? Is this close around the same as what we budgeted?
I think we had before.
It's initially,
Yeah.
yes, we guessed kind of high for that.
Yeah,
And again, it goes into the budget that we're going to approve. We aren't purchasing it until July, so it'll
Yeah.
be next. The budget we're going to approve, we just talked about today. These exact numbers are in that budget.
Understand.
This is for 5 years or 7 years? 7, right?
Is that per year for the whole thing?
We have to do the lump
Yes.
sum, right?
Whole thing.
But that means
Like
that,
All 7 years.
but it's one payment. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, hopefully what happened, this happens with our enrollment, right? And so you could have some additional costs on the line paying for different things with it that we should cover.
I think I asked this last time, so all the paid, they stressed that we got handouts for like every kid. Do they ship all 7 years of that or right up front, we gotta store it?
Based on this year, that year's worth, okay. Otherwise, we're building more sheds.
Waterproof shed.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thanks, Heath and Corey. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Move on to 9.2, YMCA, discuss approval for partnership MOU. Tim, start.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank Christine Keys for coming out tonight. So if you guys have questions of the YMCA, they're here to answer. But I also want to thank Travis for attending a meeting that we had in Hermosa, specifically going through the Hermosa facility and talking about the potential for 2 classrooms, and hopefully we have all that figured out. I did find out some news from Kevin that might help us out with the 0 to 2 with the bathroom, right, Kevin? So that looks good. But basically, we've been working on this partnership. As you guys all know, we already have a partnership with the YMCA as they're using our facilities down by the elementary. But the reality of it, if you look at 0 to 5 education across the nation, there's absolutely a gap that's there. And I think school systems and communities that are addressing it in the right way, and I want to compliment the Custer community, the Mosa community. I think we have a lot of people that are very interested in trying to figure out ways of eliminating barriers to little kids having opportunities to learn. Remember, if we address it on the front side, we hopefully do not have to address it on the back side, right? So obviously with the guidance from Christy and Keys and the administrative team, we feel really good about expanding our partnership. And with the expansion of the partnership, without me going through all the details, but I would encourage you guys to please read it. This MOU addresses facilities, the lease agreement addresses our program scope. I want to again mention that Joey, myself, went into the YMCA. I've been to the YMCA now a couple times, and it's just different. You know, what you see the little kids doing in there, what you not only see, but what you also hear, you can tell that there is learning taking place. And I think that that's something that we want to emulate in all of our programs in our district. So the program scope is very solid. We understand with the curriculum connection side of it. Obviously, the YMCA has a strong curriculum, as they mentioned it here. But we also want you guys to know as board members that we have JK teachers, kindergarten teachers, first grade teachers. And one of the things that we're going to really focus on is that collaboration component where we know that, or the YMCA, I should say, would be comfortable, or I should say our preschool is comfortable where we're sharing constantly what our kids need. It's not, they have that program, we have our program, we do what we're going to do, they do what they're going to do. It's going to be a collaboration to make sure that we're always doing what's best for our kids. The one thing that we will continue to do as a school district is we will continue to support all of our preschools with the special needs. That would be the special education department. And I think so far, if you look at what we're doing with the classrooms settings, obviously you're going to have your 0 to 2s, you're going to have your, help me out, 3s and 4s, is that right? And then you're also going to have your area for those special needs kids if it's not part of the inclusion where they need that additional help. I think one of the best things, I know Frosty shared some data earlier this year about the success that we're seeing with our kids that are participating in preschool, ones that go to JK, what happens to them in kindergarten. But this is one that I know I'm really excited about is data sharing, where we look at what's happening in that preschool and we're able to track those kids all the way through and measure, you know, what's happening with them throughout their K-12 education program. Are we missing something along the way? Is it starting, you know, when they're 2 and 3 or 4? If we know what those are, then we can, through collaboration, fix it along the way. So I think that's how we're going to be able to, in the future, definitely market the strength of the partnership between the YMCA and the Custer School District. With that, Travis, do you have anything to add?
I think it's gonna be a pretty good partnership. I mean, it's gonna take it out of our budget and put it into their hands for one. And I know that's kind of been an issue we've had before. It sounds like they're in line with what we've got. And it's probably a need for both communities. So, I guess other than the fact, it's really only gonna maybe cost us a half-time para to kind of collaborate both sides of our side and their side to make sure that we're in line. It's no cost to us.
Yeah.
Is that why there's still 50,000 in next year's budget for preschool?
If you look at this sheet, this is what we talked about, right, Sarah? Fiscal year 27.
Should be zeros.
Yeah, at fiscal year 27, if you look at 26, Larry, we had 91,745. And right now for fiscal year 27, we have $0 because how we will help out with that paraprofessional position is more than likely through this sped budget.
Yeah, so the sped side of it'll take care of that.
But
Which line are you
looking at
looking
the
at?
budgeted expenditures, on this sheet, under general funds, there's a transfer to preschool, 50,000 for 27.
That's the contingency
Yeah.
budget this year, so that's not the transfer to preschool. That 50,000 is just
That's
contingency.
just if we need it.
Okay, it's just still labeled transfer to preschool.
Yeah, I went back and forth about the best way to label that.
And like I said, I mean, we discussed, I mean, realistically, we're just giving them space. So it should work good. Maybe we've got some way to kind of retain kids, you know, through the line. If we get them started in our school now, maybe we can kind of hold them through the years, you know. I know, speaking for myself, I've watched what it's done for my little girl. I mean, in kindergarten this year, it's amazing. So I don't know, Frosty, I mean, the rest of them, I'm assuming the data looks good.
Yeah, when you look at it, I mean, after this year in kindergarten, we ended up having 6 kids that needed high interventions, and only one of those kids was one of the preschool kids. All the other kids are doing great, and I'd say that student's probably looking more like a special education student eventually, but, you know, it does, and I can give you this sheet to take a look at, but when those kids come into kindergarten from preschool or even into JK, they're just head and shoulders above those other kids, and they can really fly when they get in there. So, and as we lose some of that para support, I think that preschool helps out a lot and get those kids where they need. So when they get into kindergarten or in first grade, we don't need to have this much para support in the classroom anyway. So.
Keep talking. One of the things that we talked a little bit about, and I think this is down the line, it's not gonna happen in 26, 27, but I do think it's gonna happen in 27, 28. Where obviously we wanna grow this program. One thing also to remember about, especially school districts that do this right, communities that do this right, there are studies being done right now because alternative education is not just an issue in South Dakota. We all realize that, right? It's across the nation. Communities that get together and develop partnerships with preschool, those kids stay in your school, right? Parents, just like what Travis just talked about with his daughter. That is what we have to build with all of our families. You know, some of us in here, some of us maybe not, have had kids that we know are like high flyer little kids, because we always talk about the lower level, right? But what about the high flyer kids? So one of the things that we're talking about is with our, I kind of named this, haven't I? Our JK Academy. So, yeah, okay. So with the JK Academy down in 27, 28, what that might look like, it's going to give our kids, if we have kids that are 4-year-olds, right? They just can't, birthday wise, they can't get into kindergarten, right? But they need to be challenged. Or they go to a preschool, or they go to daycare, whatever it might look like for them. And they just do this, right? They're not being challenged. One of the things we're already talking about is ways that we can have those kids, because remember, if they're a 4-year-old in preschool, they're going to jump the next year right into what? Kindergarten. So why not have them working with our JK Academy down the line where those kids are going to be challenged, right? These kids are kids like they're telling me they don't want to take naps. They want to learn. They're the ones that you make them take a nap, they become a pain. So I think that this is something that we can really work on with the YMCA, with our people. I think we can build a incredible learning experience for all of our kids 0 to 5. And that gets us going in the right direction. So that's my pitch. Anything to add?
I just think, I'm Keith Larson. I'm the CEO of YMCA of Black Hills. I just think one of the things that, as Tim mentioned, you should be really concerned about, or not concerned, but working towards that collaboration model, is the fact that if we can get kids ready and challenged before they get into kindergarten, your school district kids are just gonna flourish. And I think one of the things is we've seen that gap in the fact that there's a divide. And if we can all work together to make sure all those kids, and again, back to the special education kids, they're near and dear to my heart. I think that one of the things that we always talk about is integration with those kids, with regular kids, is so important on the cultural level. Not only that, but for us as a society and working towards working together in integration. So I want to thank you, Tim, for even working with us in trying to fit this collaborative model into existence. Thank you.
Thank you.
The other thing we did talk about, in case you guys are wondering, is be sure and we get together every year and make sure both sides are getting what they're asking of one another and obviously, so.
Is there gonna be any sort of limit? Like, if we get an influx of kids from somewhere, are we gonna be capped at 5 kids, 10 kids, whatever it is?
We are a licensed program, so there is ratio concerns that we will have eventually. I mean, at this point, with the numbers that we are seeing, we're not at those limits. But it would be some conversations down the road, I'm sure.
I think what we've been working on it in this model is we know that, the why we like to say pivot, but that's Chrissy's term. The fact of the matter is you just gauge it, and if you need more space than in that community, whether it was Hermosa or whether it's Custer, you look at the next models. Because again, we don't want to turn anyone away. We want this to be a good partnership. We want to watch it grow over the next 5 years, and if it does grow to capacity, then the next year more space. I mean, the goal really is that this program grows together, and as a community, each in Custer and Hermosa, we are looking at that every year. Like Travis said, that's something that joint collaboration and communication needs to be in place.
That sounds great. I just don't want any kid to not have that ability or that opportunity for whatever reason. Anything else? Okay, I need a motion to approve the MOU with YMCA in preschool.
We'll make that motion.
Travis,
I'll second.
good, Brandy. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies, for coming to the meeting.
If I may, I do want to acknowledge Con Curry is our executive director here in Custer, so she is also leading the TAC on our side of things.
Thanks for coming.
Connie.
We'll move on to 9.3, library annual report.
Yeah.
Mr. Cass, is someone supposed to you?
No, up on the floor, Franklin.
Okay. I'm like, I don't have that kind of thing. I'm like, you have to say me. All right. Thank you for giving me your time to talk to you about the library. It's just kind of a little scrapbook of what's been going on at the library this year. This is our library team. We have Misty Wallstrom, who's at the Custer Elementary School, and she does her library programs on Monday and Tuesday of the week. We have Thea Teasley, who's at the high school library, and she works all 4 days of the week in the library, and Elspeth Gritberger, who is a full-time student and was a library para on Wednesdays and Thursdays at Hermosa. But next year, she's becoming an even more full-time student and taking 24 hours, so she's not gonna be with us next year. She's gonna focus on school. This is just a slide about our circulation. It's up 25% district-wide for the year. It's up 11% at Custer Elementary School. It's down 12% at the high school, but it's still up 19% compared to the year before last. Last year, we did a really bang-em-up job on circulation, and this year, it's kind of, the more book tastings and stuff we do, the more circulation we have, and I was focusing on getting resources ready for the ACT for the teachers this year, so that's my bad that I didn't offer as many book tastings and stuff like that. But the real winner is Hermosa's up 73% compared to last year. We've got more lenient circulation policy, and we've got the books the kids are wanting, and just circulation there is kind of going through the roof. So they're so excited about, especially second graders. They want to check out more books than they can carry, and I'm like, that's the one rule, you have to be able to carry them yourself. I'm not going to help carry them to your room. These are the books we added to the 3 libraries this year. 665 district-wide, 103 at the high school, 270 at Custer Elementary School. Thea does the cataloging and processing and book covering for those 2 schools. And then we added 292 at Hermosa, and Elspeth and I catalog and process those. At the elementary schools, we buy some of the books with Scholastic funds over there. And this year we got 15 from a Paper Pie. If you've heard of Usborne books, they turned into Paper Pie. So we had a little Paper Pie book fair, and we got a few books. Hopefully we can have a better book fair with them next year. These are some facts about the senior high. We provide county library cards for the 7th through 12th graders each year, so they can check out books from the local library. We can put them on hold and go pick them up and bring them to them right at the library. So even if they don't have transportation, we can get books beyond what we have in our library. They also can check out ebooks and audiobooks through Libby, and parents can set parental controls that are with passkey protected, so it can only be changed with their thumbprint or whatever they use for their passkey. We house and supervise the dual credit classes. Thea does that for 7 periods each day. We provided 50 ACT prep sessions. Most of those we did in the library 2 or 3 times a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but some teachers invited me into their classrooms, and we did some in the classrooms as well. We developed a web page. We have a thriving weekly book club that Thea supervises and leads. And she got a grant from Custer Youth and Alumni Foundation for our makerspace. And we have button makers and stuff. So like if one of our groups is going to a state tournament, we can make them buttons that say what they're doing. And we just have a lot of crafty things there. Sometimes kids, when they're ahead in math or something, instead of punishing them by giving them more work, Miss Halverson or someone will send them to the library, and they can bead and color and just be rewarded for being diligent instead of getting extra work. So we all of the things we do, we have to collaborate with the teachers because we don't have a fixed schedule like the elementary school does. We do a lot of library related things like library orientations, research, book tastings, but we also do some things like Canva classes on making flyers, making book trailers, creating resumes. The marketing senior projects and creating resumes, those we do with the senior projects class. Most things we do with the ELA teachers. The Ikigai, that's with the career planning class with Ms. Freymire. We collaborate with her for that. But we just do a lot of activities, but they all depend on collaborating. Sometimes we go to their room, and sometimes their classroom comes to the libraries. This is just I just want to show you some photos. This is what you guys are all here for, all these kids to support them. So these are some of the dual credit kids. We have the seniors, they're allowed to come into the library or just go home and do their dual credit classes and stuff. The juniors always come to the library. And this year we have a few sophomores that are taking animal science or ag science, but I don't think we have those in the future. But We do some creating in the library, and we have our book club. They're a fun gang. We're gonna take a little field trip. We have book club, TMA, or whatever you guys changed the name to. We're gonna go to Barnes and Noble next week and have a little field trip. This is a book tasting, because you may not know what that means when I say that. So we've set up like a cafe, and each table is a different genre, and they have a little menu. And it gets them to actually pick up the books and read the backs and figure out, they get turned on to some new books they may not have heard of before, and open themselves up to new genres that they may never have tried. So those really help our circulation when we get to do those. The elementary school, Misty has a packed schedule. She has 16 library classes in 2 days, and she also helps with the reading group, but she usually has like 5 minutes between classes. So I move my office over to her school most of the time on Mondays and Tuesdays, and that way I can check in the books and put them away and support her while she's leading lessons, and we help them get circulated and everything. So she has lots of makerspace activities. We raised, so we sold over $5,600 at our Scholastic Book Fair, so that gives us $2,800 in Scholastic dollars. That means we can only spend them on Scholastic things. We have to pay full price. But at least it's something. And we have a balance of like $4,800 there for right now. So I've been saving that up kind of for hard times, so I'd have some money to still get some new stuff into the library. We partnered with Ava Jari. I'll have a picture of that in a minute. And we do lots of Read Across America activities. Misty plans these. She plans such fun things for our school to do. This is just a picture of the book fair. The kids get so excited. I don't know if you've seen that Facebook meme that their shopping addiction began at the Scholastic Book Fair in school. I believe it. Like, they just keep coming back and buying a pencil or a pen or something. Ava Jari did her senior project over at the elementary school library. It's called Read to Succeed, and she came and read to all of our classes and did a craft with them in a later week. And I just think it makes such a difference when some beautiful young high schooler is telling them how important it is to read and all the advantages of reading. It just, they listen when a high school senior tells them that. And we also partner with the library. We had a Dave Pilkey story time, and now we're doing the summer reading, promoting summer reading. They're coming in and talking to our kids about that. This is just some of the activities that we did for Read Across America. And this scavenger hunt, we put these QR codes up around the school, and they scan them, and big kids get paired up with little kids, and then it gives them a poem. That's their next clue, and they go finding their next clue. But Misty plans all these things, and I think it's a great time. Hermosa, we have 9 library classes per week on average, and we do those on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And we raised $1,471 in Scholastic dollars at our book fair in the fall, and we have over $1,000 balance there. We've spent more of that because we've been, over the years, we have that new library space, and we bought some shelving units and book bins and things like that, and some books, but we've spent a lot on kind of furniture things and over there. Talked about paper pie. We had, Read Across America, we had more passive activities over there that they could just do as they had time, hanging up on the walls and stuff. And we had a family literacy event during that time. And we participated in that in the library. We added a new bookshelf and book bins, and we have a forward-facing library. I'm excited about how it's really spread out and really user-friendly right now. I'll show you pictures of that. And it bears repeating, circulation's up 73%. This is our forward-facing library bin. So you can see we have these, instead of them looking at numbers and looking at spines, they can see, oh, if I want the heavy equipment books, they're here, or the cool cars, or the amazing wonders, or whatever. So they can look through them and see the covers, which are much more enticing than the spines of a book. I just wanted to show you the space over there if you haven't seen it, because it's so beautiful. They have this big area here. This is Elspeth reading holes to the middle schoolers, some of the middle schoolers. So she bought these, student council actually bought them some camping type kind of furniture and stuff, but they love sitting on that. They love sitting in the window seats, and it's just a really nice space there, whether they need to work at tables or just find a nice place to sit down and read. And we have even kindergartners doing their self-checkout this year. We've been successful finally doing that. So we've been doing that at Custer for a little while, and this year we got them trained up pretty good. We have 2 lines going there, both sides of the desk. This is some of the little kids using some of the new furniture and just reading they really love the window seats. And she used some of her scholastic dollars to buy some makerspace activities. So those are kind of handy, like when we're circulating, not everybody can check out their book at once. And when you get done checking out your book, you can go do a little activity and stuff or you can read your book. Sometimes they just read, and sometimes they get to create and collaborate together. This just happened last week. For the 4th year in a row, the 1st grade over there, Miss Crown's class, were the Read Bowl champs of the South Dakota Primary Division. So Amber Hulse came and congratulated them, and they all got 2 books each and a certificate. And these are the proud parents there in the library. And Miss Crown's husband helped pay for the books, so we appreciate him doing that. All right, goals for the future. I'm applying for the School Achievement Through Libraries Award for each school. I just got my application submitted for Custer Elementary. I just lack the library impact and improvement meetings with administrators, and but I had to take a course and stuff, so it's kind of been a 2-year process applying for this, and so hopefully we will get that for the libraries that we've had for the last couple of years. I'm also excited we've applied for a $2,000 grant from Black Hills Reads, and our grant kind of focuses on the readers at both ends of the spectrum. We're getting more decodables to help support our readers that need decodables. And we have some advanced readers that are, the decodables, that's not that interesting to them, so we're doing lit circles with them. So we're buying little sets of books to have lit circles with them and have them reading more 4th grade level stuff that's still age appropriate, just to challenge the high flyers, as you call them. And I just want to improve the signage at the high school library. And there's going to be new school library standards coming out. And so once they come out, we're going to try to align the lessons we use at the schools to those standards. They said not to bother with it now because the standards are changing, so we'll wait and do that after the standards have changed. And that's all I have. You might have any questions about anything?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Move on to 9.4, SAA board election.
You can vote for one.
There's one
Okay.
person running, so it's an easy one.
Do we need to vote?
Yeah, just make a motion to approve Jeff Pastor's
I'll make a motion to approve Jeff.
Thanks, Corey.
I'll second it.
Thanks, you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And then we have amendment ballot. Explain the amendment ballot.
Yeah, okay. What number is it?
Number 5.
Okay, so you have on here from the South Dakota High School Activity Center, you have 3 amendments, and these are actually ones that we have talked about before. I think I gave mention to it in our superintendent's report, but The one, amendment one is, just clarifies that, again, the voting yes means that you're approving the amendment. Clarifies that a red shirt year reclassification between 8th grade and 9th grade is not recognized and it's not allowed. In other words, is that they're concerned because we're getting, people that are wanting to hold their kids back for participation. And they want to make sure that the number of years that you're allowed to participate in high school activities stays as is. So you're not going to have kids that, like 6th graders aren't going to be able to participate. It's going to, if you participate at that level, it's going to count towards your number of years that you have. So that's amendment one. Amendment two clarifies when a student whose school closed may transfer to a new school. I think that's kind of a common sense thing. If your school district's closing, you can't hold against them as far as some type of a penalty. And amendment three defines graduation to include the GED programs, online programs, and homeschool programs. I would say that amendment three falls in line, honestly, with a lot of legislation that has been brought forward. So, questions? Toby, do you got anything to add to those, or Joey? No? Okay.
I need a motion to approve, or we'll say vote yes to either all three or individually, if that's what you want to do. Whoever's making the motion.
I'll vote yes to all three.
Let's try this and Sarah. Any discussion?
Is it just 5 years for high school?
It's broken down by your
Quarters
semesters.
or
Yeah.
stuff, whatever it is, yeah. But I mean.
So it's 4 semesters like in your high school, then it's a 6, would be 6 for 7th and 8th grade. So it's 4 semesters, 6 trimesters of 7th and 8th grade. Students shall begin their 8 semesters, 12 trimesters in high school eligibility. So no red shirt, no reclassification. Here's recognized. So it's the, I'm gonna hold my kid back in 8th grade again, put him play it again. You only have, so he's already competed in 7th grade, so my kid is a little bit immature, hasn't filled out, and give him 1 more year. That's not a deal. Is that how you guys took it, Joey?
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Move on to 9.6. Psychology services with Hot Springs.
I think.
Dr. Audrey Frederick, do you want to talk about this?
So, Hot Springs currently I think has 2 psychologists on staff there, and they just need help. The psychologists that are there, they don't feel comfortable doing the initial evaluations. And so Catherine, as long as it doesn't interrupt her services here, we'll farm her out to help Hot Springs out to do just the initial evaluations. Does anybody else have any other questions about that?
We kind of had a poll that anyways. Yeah.
Did open to,
Is that rate like to go rate?
Yeah.
Seems low to me.
What's that?
It seems low to me, but
Yeah.
for that kind of service.
Well, we gotta start somewhere.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
asking you.
And that's kind of what the related service providers charge now, and so that's kind of why we went with that number. And that's how we work with it. Usually it takes 5 to 6 hours to complete an evaluation, and so that's about right.
Okay.
It depends on the area of disability that they're evaluating in, and some could take longer.
Sure. Any questions? need a motion to,
I have a question. Is this something that happens at the beginning of the year, or is this,
All year,
okay?
as needed.
Also remember the Custer School District, our needs are met first
Yeah.
before we send a person out, so take care of our own school first.
so I need a motion to approve the psych services with Hot Springs.
I'll make a motion.
One second.
Thanks, Randy. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Move on to 9.7, approve offering contracts for certified. This is just the listing of all the teachers that we're bringing back next year.
Correct.
And this is new, something we haven't seen in the past. So just wants us to see who's coming back and have it approved.
I think that's good.
So I need a motion to approve the FY 27 certified staff.
I'll make a motion.
Lori,
Most likely.
thanks, Sarah. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And then next is approve issuance of co-curricular activities. Sorry, yep, staff, yeah. Same concept as the certified. So we need a motion to approve the list as presented.
Make the motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And 9.9 is classified staff, same concept. Motion to approve classified staff list.
I'll make a motion.
Corey? Second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Keith. Any discussion?
This is just the list of paras.
No, it's-
Custodian.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it should be custodians also.
Okay, good, I see those.
This is sped and general, every all.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And then one more for admin and other non-rep staff.
How can we approve them if we haven't negotiated?
Yeah.
You can approve them, it's just their amount that's.
Just proving that they're coming back.
Okay, all right. I guess that makes sense. Make a motion.
Motion,
I'll make a motion.
thanks Corey. And a second,
Second,
Travis. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed, same sign. Go down to 9.11, We have a overnight trip for the music department. That's Holiday. Are you here to talk about it?
Yes.
Perfect.
So we've submitted 2 applications. The first is for our annual senior trip that we hold every June. We are planning on going to Denver with this year's seniors, kind of just as a celebration for graduating and to thank them for being excellent leaders and being part of the music programs. We usually try to do some kind of show, so the plan this year isn't actually musical, but we're seeing Harry Potter and the First Child, the National Broadway tour. We'll spend a day at English Gardens, we'll see a baseball game, it's a fun 2-day time to just spend together and celebrate the seniors. The second application is for an opportunity to travel that I was invited to by the Pearl Harbor Memorial Foundation. I've received requests before, and then this year they submitted one to me again to invite the marching band specifically to march in parade in December of 2027, where they host this big Pearl Harbor Memorial event. When I looked into it further, I learned that they also have an opening ceremony max choir performance. And I learned that I'd also be taking on the choir position. I asked if it were possible to bring students for both, and they said yes. And we're planning in the next couple of years to do another large music department trip. So this is kind of something that I'm pursuing because I can involve students from both sides of the department on the same trip. I'm bringing it to this meeting specifically so that I can get information out to students and parents before the summer, so that we can start to fundraise. The cost is per student is actually really good. We're looking to travel within the continental US. I live in and the cost for this is actually about the same, if not less, than other opportunities to travel not so far away. So I think it's an awesome opportunity to offer to the kids to perform. There's obviously historical and cultural elements involved. We've seen a lot of different Polynesian activities and obviously the beach and exploring in general. So I think it's a really unique opportunity to have a chance to pursue.
Thank you very much. Any questions for either one of these travel? If not, I need a motion to approve them individually or together. That's what
We're just approving the big,
The request, but it says cost the district is done.
they're planning on raising all the money necessary.
I make a motion on both to let them go.
I second both.
Thank you. Keith and Brandy. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. I appreciate the early approval so you can start getting the fundraising done. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are moving to section 10, superintendent's report. That's you. In case you're wondering.
I'm gonna go really brief with this. I want to inform everybody that Kevin and I did meet with the city of Custer. We talked about the joint use agreement. I kind of filled you in already on most of that. One thing is that we are going to be working with the city of Custer on updating, do you remember how old it was, Kevin? Like,
How it was?
the joint use agreement with the city? It's old.
That one was like 26.
Yeah.
Before that was
Yeah, so there's some things that we need to update. We're talking about the fields on the north side and who's taking care of what. Also, we talked about water and what we can use, and there's some other discussions that are going on there, but I feel like we got a good meeting. We'll continue to meet with them throughout. Large school superintendent's meeting, one of the key things I pulled from that meeting this past week was there's finally getting to be some potential talk about property and liability insurance. They're talking specifically with what's called captive insurance, where all, and it sounds like to me, it's gonna be either all or they won't do it. But if all K-12 schools would jump into this big pool, they might give some consideration to it. On the front side, what we're hearing is that the front side, you have an upfront cost, but then after that, your premiums are going to drop considerably from what you're paying now. I don't know what the Custer School District's past experience has been in joining, whether it be property liability or health insurance. My experience is that, like with health insurance, is that you're always gonna pay that upfront cost. That's to build up the dollar amounts in the pool. And then after that, they drop it considerably. So I think that's positive. The other thing I just want to mention, because I know the Custer School District has had its experiences with EMC, but there are two others that are also looking at property liability, McClellan and Marcia McClellan, who was also big in the establishment of the Northern Plains Insurance Pool. That is a health insurance pool. They did some wonderful things with that. And then the other one is Liberty Mutual. So something that I would suggest that we keep looking at down the line is just don't get comfortable with one, because that's obviously when you get comfortable, that's when they will jack things up on you, right? I do want to mention real quick, just a Jeff Custer's thing. Jeff Custer is a good guy that you guys supported tonight. Jeff is one of those guys that if you give him a call, you talk to him about different things and activities, he will take it to that executive branch of the South Dakota High School Activities Association. I know Jeff for a long time. Partnership Council, we have a Partnership Council meeting tomorrow. How we're going about our meetings is we're really trying to focus on 3 or 4 things now to try to check mark them off. I think we have some topics tomorrow morning that hopefully we can get through a couple of them so we can add some check marks, but I think we've done a good job up to this point. Just so all board members know this, the idea between with the partnership for next year will be to keep these meetings ongoing, whether you want to come or not. From the beginning of the year all the way through, that way comes negotiations. The language side of things is already done. We don't have to be working kind of backwards into it. All right, but there is a document in the report for you to see actually what the topics are going forward. I also want to mention that Terry reported on the hot lunch program with LSI. I was very impressed with what LSI talked about with us. It's besides the fact that we're staying in the black, what you need to understand as a school, that is very uncommon. Most of your school districts across the state are sticking money supplementing their food service programs. But some of the key takeaways, as I mentioned, is that something we need to be thinking about. We had good participation for breakfast. If you look at the percentage compared to a lot of schools, there's things that we can probably do that can help that, and they had some good ideas. I don't know, obviously the principals would have to deal with this, but you guys recall what she called it?
Second chance breakfast.
Yeah,
At the junior senior.
Yeah, second chance breakfast, which I know as we implemented something similar to that, where kids second period could come in and they could grab something out of the kitchen. They appreciate it, their parents appreciate it, but it also creates some issues too with taking food to the classroom, things like that, but we'll work on that. I love the idea where they want to give more open invitations for families to come in and enjoy the meals that they prepare. They talked about student advisory programs. They did a great job with the Veterans Day program. They also want to start looking at some additional programs like Dr. Seuss Week, where they, again, invite more people coming into the building. I think that's great to do that because then, they're actually going to be able to taste the food and see the food and feel good about it. Another big thing that's going on across the Midwest, and I sent you, I think, an email on this, was the swatting incidents that are going on. Swatting incidences are basically where people are calling into school districts and they're making threats. And typically these threats they're not valid. But with that being said, I looked at our disaster plan, and it has not been touched since 2012. So that's something that we have to get on top of. And one of the big things I want to make sure that we establish is that we have crisis prevention teams that are in each building, not district-wide only. It needs to be in each building because those are the people that will have a direct impact on safety and security if an incident was to happen in our schools. Last thing, I just want to give a quick mention to not just the teachers, but all the students, the principals. We've made it through a very good school year, but one thing I just want to mention with this is that, don't take for granted how good our kids are, our teachers are, our administrators, our community. We are all very blessed to be here in this community, in this school system. You see a lot of things happening here that are positive that you do not see, and kids do not have those opportunities. Teachers don't have those opportunities. So we are doing good things, but we can always get better. Any questions? Okay, I'm done.
The other part of that is the Partnership Council agenda, which you already talked about. Any questions? Move on to administrator's report and start with Frosty.
Second, it's been a great school year, super fast, flew by, but, we're just starting to wrap things up. We wrapped up our state testing last week with a couple makeup tests. It went really well. Our 8th graders went to the high school today to visit, and it sounded like that went well. The Hive to Pride 5K was awesome. It was well attended, 100 runners, I think right around 100 runners. I didn't die, so that was a positive. Teacher Appreciation Week last week, our student council and our 8th grade leadership team did a great job. Our leadership kids, I think they watched every single teacher's car in the parking lot, and they were pretty wore out. That was their gift to their teachers. And then they let the teachers buy them in the face at the end of the day, so it was great. And then, we just wrap things up. We have our end of the year school family barbecue that Travis does a great job. If you guys want to come help out, it's a great opportunity to see our families before we send them home for the summer. So.
Ms. Frosty, any questions for Frosty? Kevin?
At Arbor Day, Custer County Conservation District came out. Elementary school today planted a tree for Arbor Day. All the first graders came out in the presentation, sent them on their way with little sapling trees. We'll be down in Hermosa Wednesday at 2:30. The guy, Josh, he does a really good job, going over trees and why they're important and test the kids. I got that done. Getting ready for summer projects. We do have a equipment auction next week. Just getting rid of equipment, trucks, trailers that we're not using anymore, and hopefully upgrading them. So, setting up for graduation Wednesday. Track meet Thursday. Hopefully everything goes good. A lot of stuff happening in one scrambling and definitely shorthanded, so hopefully everything goes good. But other than that, just getting ready for summer projects and
Thank you. Any questions for Kevin? Dr. Ron Frederick?
So we had the Patina track meet this week, on the 6th. The weather was great. It actually was more amazing than I ever thought it could be. Thank you to Toby, he was my MC and my bus transportation guy. He came and helped cook, Frosty helped cook, and Kevin. I'm not used to having teamwork like that, so it was really amazing. It was fun. This week I'm doing a checkout with all my staff just to kind of do a year in review and see how their year went, what I can do to help their jobs for next year. Today I did all my elementary staff in Custer. Tomorrow I'm doing my junior high
high school staff, and then Wednesday I'm doing Hermosa staff. And then next week, I'm going to meet with all my special ed teachers in each building, and we're gonna look ahead at caseloads, where we need to put our pairs and everything. Other than that, next month I'll hopefully have a presentation on the track meet, because there's a gazillion pictures out there. It was so much fun. And then I'll have the comprehensive plan for you to approve. I'm revamping that. I think it's 121 pages now, and I have done the 35. And otherwise, that's about it.
Thank you. Any questions? Joey?
We had a great week last week with teacher appreciation. Our PTA came in and did a lot of things for our staff, made us feel special. We definitely ate well last week, so food is definitely the way to the elementary teacher's heart, I think. So thank for all the people that donated time and the fun things that they did. We had our teammates beach bash today at lunch, and so some of the mentors and the mentees got to hang out a little bit at lunch today, had some pizza, so thanks to the board members for putting that together. That's always a fun thing. Field day is Wednesday this week, so if you're bored on Wednesday and you wanna go help with some crazy game that Mr. Winkler made up, then I got a place for you. But thankful we got some high school kids coming over to help out, which is really amazing. Student council campaign week is this week for our elementary student council, and they'll have elections next week, and they'll deliver their speeches to the student body next week. So that's always a fun thing. And then just kind of winding up for the rest of the end of the year. Field trip season is underway. We've got awards assembly on May 20th. Yeah, I'm just kind of wrapping things up with schedules for next year and class lists and things like that. So things are rolling.
Questions for Joey? Toby?
We don't have a lot going on. I gave you guys some pictures. You see Sam there at the 1% Sam Cochran valedictorian. Just put in some other stuff in there, some senior projects night pictures, and just some projects that seniors do. They do a great job on that. And we're really blessed with what we do. We talked about it at a Region 7 meeting, and a lot of schools were scrambling on what to do with that. And so they're taking a lot of the stuff we're doing. Probably saw we had a school for sale. Senior Frank, seems like that's an every year deal anymore. I don't know, it started when I got here, maybe before, but it just keeps going. So they do a pretty good job most of the time, so it's all right. I got awards on Tuesday, tomorrow night, if you want to come to that at 7 p.m. in the theater. Practice for graduation on Wednesday at 9:30, and then graduation Saturday at 2 p.m. in the Army there. Prom was awesome, so thanks to Mrs. Liebert. Everyone else who put that on. Teacher Appreciation Week was great. Thanks to Katie and Patty and Wildcat Spirit for that. Senior banners, so we're having a little issue with getting those made. They're a little late this year, so they're hopefully going to be up tomorrow. If not, we're going to have to look at a different provider for next year. It's just the hang up is we're not getting them like we usually do. We use this provider for a while, so we'll see what we can get going on with that one. Eighth graders from Hermosa and the sixth graders from Custer Elementary came to visit. Good kids, good visit. It's always nice to see their wide eyes to start off with, and then we answer questions and kind of ease them into, hey, it's going to be all right. You're going to do well. We haven't lost any of you guys yet. They always say, yeah, they go, well, I mean, you never know, but usually don't lose you. So that's always good. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Questions for Toby? Mr. Cates?
So last but not least, right? Things have been going great. Just finishing up evaluations, certified and classified. We're going to those, and have about 4 to go on classified, so right where we want to be. And just one thing I want to say on, on teacher appreciation, and we recognize people all year long. and it's been great. But our staff just does a great job. I mean, I think all the schools could probably say that, but just from a new guy in this town this year, I've just really been blessed to see how our staff works together. And, you know, whenever there's any kind of crisis, they come through. If somebody's down, we pick them up. If we have a track meet or something that takes a bunch of staff away, we work together and make it work. And I just really appreciate that. I appreciate the teamwork. It's, you know, I've been around the block a few years, and it's one of the best I've ever seen. Last thing I want to say is just the student recognition that I've been working on. We've got over 100 students recognized now. My favorite part is those calls home. Made a couple moms cry this last week because their kids are recognized for some things, and they're not used to getting those calls home. And so it just goes to show that, you know, even some of those kids that do have some issues at times, they do great things that we don't often recognize them for, and the staff has done a great job of, you know, kids that always do the good things, they're getting recognized, and then we have kids that, like I said, struggle sometimes, and we're trying to find the good in what they do. So things are going great, and I think it's going to be a positive thing going forward.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time on that. Any questions, Mr. Cates? Okay, move on to Board of Education. Next month's meeting is June. I would say what day, so just choose a day and show up in our office. 6 p.m. Was it? The 8th, thank you. And then move on to 12. I needed a motion to go in and out of executive session for personnel and contracts. This one's not personnel and contract negotiations.
I'll make the motion to go in and out of executive session, SPCL 1-25-2, parentheses 1 and 3.
Travis? Thanks, Heath. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I need a break.
Yep.
How about you? You're good? 4 hours?